Hello, welcome to CEO Prepper. This is the audio edition because I am currently driving. I have a friend of mine who has actually been having quite the experience over the last several months. She lost everything this past winter and she has been homeless. And I made a kind of a joke with her when we were talking on Facebook. Right now she's still homeless, so but since I know her, I decided to give her a care package and help her out a little bit. But she kind of filled me in on what it was like to be homeless. And the slight joke I made before this was, after this you're going to be a survivalist. I didn't realize how true that was until I talked to her. So today we're talking with my friend. We're just going to call her street survivalist. All right, so
Street Smart Sally.
yeah, there you go, Street Smart Sally. Okay, we'll call her Street Smart Sally. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so triple S.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go into detail as to what happened to where you're in this position, but just kind of walk us through like the very beginning. What happened, and what were your experiences? What did you notice?
I had a car accident that wasn't my fault, and I lost, my car was totaled, and within 2 weeks the lights were shut off because I used my vehicle as my source of income, because I drove for Uber and Lyft, and which, when you do that, you're an independent contractor and you're pretty much on your own. Well, it was the third time I'd been hit driving for them in 2.5 years. The first one was a drunk driver. The second one was an 85-year-old woman. And each time I had to come back from that. Well, this time I just couldn't come back from it. And the power got shut off and the kids had to go stay with their dad. And I ended up out on the streets of... So anyways, I ended up on the streets, and with you providing this care package, I know we were talking, and when I was first out there for the first month and a half, I would go 3 and 4 days without eating, because I wanted to be law-abiding. I wanted to follow the rules. I didn't want to boost or steal. I didn't want to sell my body. I didn't want to do these things. And I ended up going really hungry. I mean, it was the kind of hunger that hurts. I dropped a lot of weight really fast. I found that on the street, everybody was running a game. I didn't panhandle either. That was one thing that I've never been able to do, is panhandle. Because I couldn't ask people that were making minimum wage to hand over their money to me just because I happened to be in a bad spot. But a lot of the panhandlers, we all got to know each other, or I knew who all of them were. A lot of them slept under the bridges. And in the beginning, I would go up, and I found this 24-hour bar, and I would go sit at that all night. I tried to maintain the look of not being destitute and homeless, and that's why I was able to stay at this bar, every night. I didn't get much sleep for the first month and a half because it's not comfortable. It's not home. And you're always having to watch your back. I had my phone stolen when I was having a medical emergency, and basically got jacked in the midst of it and had my phone stolen and some other things. And as I'm waiting for the ambulance, and dehydration, I was at the hospital probably about 4 different times that first month and a half with dehydration. I have neuropathy in my hands, and the cold was the biggest thing too. And the one thing I saw, a lot of the homeless people would be tossing aside on the sidewalk were these hand warmer packets. I never got my hands on any of them. I don't know where they were getting them. There are resources, but it's just, you have to be willing to fight for them. And I had to get over that mentality that I'm going to be this law-abiding citizen, because when you're really truly out on the street and stuff, you're invisible. You're invisible to the law. You're invisible to
Would you say you're invisible to society?
Society, yes, yeah. Like the police don't want to. They don't want to deal with your ass. They don't want to. They don't want to. You're just a burden to everybody.
And society sees you as a nuisance.
Yes, yeah. They think that you did something to deserve where you're at. They didn't know that. You know, when I first out there, they didn't know that a few weeks before that I had a 2016 vehicle and I had an apartment that was $1,200 something a month. They didn't know how quickly you can be. I mean, it doesn't have to be a apocalypse. It can be your own apocalypse, to where you have to. All of a sudden, you have nobody but you, basically.
Now, once you get over the part where you try to be that moral, law-abiding citizen with the laws that we're all grown up with, once you figured, okay, I may have to break some laws in order to survive.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you went through. What kind of things you did?
I went to Backpage, which basically you're a prostitute. You're an online prostitute. I hated that. And then I started boosting, which boosting is where you go into a store and you load up. You might have somebody might give you a list of things to do, and then they're going to pay you cash to go in and boost. I mean, hundreds of dollars worth of items. They're going to pay you. They might pay you $50 for every 100, or less. Sometimes 30, sometimes 40. But you're not having to sell your body, which for a lot of women it's either boosting or prostitution. Which a lot of women prefer to do the boosting, just because prostitution I found was very dangerous. It was there's a lot of people that they become very violent for no reason. They don't want you to leave. They won't let you leave. They snap on you for you don't even know what you did wrong, and they snap on you. So yeah, I went from being normal suburban, mom to doing that in just a matter of months.
Okay, and I know this may be because I know other preppers have done specials or topic discussions on women during an apocalypse, what they'll do, this, that, and the other. And I know prostitution has been a big discussion on that. But I know Canadian Prepper, he did a really excellent video on this exact subject. And your experience, can you go into a little deeper? Because I don't think a lot of people really can grasp what it is to be in a situation where you have to turn into a survivor. Even those of us in the prepper community, we don't exactly, we know that, yeah, we need this, and this to survive. But, okay, we know we need to survive. We know what kind of training we should get to survive, this, that, and the other. But actually, this episode's more for the people who have absolutely no idea what they're doing, no training.
Yes.
Just finding themselves in the middle of a basic shitstorm.
Yes.
You said the prostitution came first.
Yes. Yeah.
Or the escorting came first.
The escorting, yeah.
Okay, and you said a lot of the guys were, or a few of the guys were dangerous.
Yeah.
What was that like? The choice where you were like, there's no other thing, there's nothing else I can do. I don't have any other skills. Da 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 da.
It's a matter of, you don't have an address. You have trouble making it to a shower some days, or even most days. Like you might, and I found who wants to hire somebody that doesn't have an address, that walks in carrying a backpack and may not smell the greatest. So I found that in order to get to a shower every day, I had to have access to a hotel. in order to get a hotel every day, I had to prostitute. And even then I wouldn't get a hotel every day. I mean, there's a lot of catfishing that goes on Backpage, where these men, they get off on just talking to you, and they also get off on having you go to a location that's not. I've knocked on the wrong hotel rooms, and I know that person's across the hall somewhere, and they're just laughing, thinking it's funny. They'll just stop talking to me. Like that happened several times, and I think it was the same guy doing it. I've had people get out and, or when I would try to leave, they snap on me because they have these ideas in their head that once I get there, I'm gonna like them so much that am I not gonna want to be paid. No, let's keep going. Oh, okay. Not only am I not gonna want to be paid, but that I'm gonna just want to hang out with them all night and have sex with them. Just go all night long, and that's why we would charge in like increments of time, like 15-minute or 30-minute, because people, they don't get it's not by the act, it's you're paying for the time of the person. If we did because there's some people that they might have you there for hours and hours without completing and saying you can't leave until you're, so that's why I had to come up with all kinds of rules, like no hitting. Like, you wouldn't think that would be a rule that you would have to, reiterate to every single client, but you did. You had to tell them you were not into hitting, because the first person that I had left bruises all over my rear end, and then I think the worst one was the guy that he just wouldn't let me go all night. Every time I'd try to leave, he'd grab me by the hair and drag me back to bed. It was just a big nightmare, and I still didn't get paid, even after, literally being there all night.
Okay, I don't want you to go into whole detail about that whole experience. Now, you did this without any defensive weapons whatsoever.
Right.
And I know a lot of us in the prepping community, we have everything, literally. When it comes to, we try to get the best firepower, we try to get the best knives, or some of us that are into bladed weapons. They may go as deep as swords, and daggers, what have you. But you were out there with literally no way of defending yourself. How did you fend off would-be predators?
I just, there was a couple times I took a friend. There was one time I took a friend, and he was outside of the room, and I actually had to signal him to come up because the guy was acting real shady from the start. He gets there, he tosses a gift card on the counter, and I'm like, no, you can't pay with that. And then he puts me in a bear hug, wanting to know if he can get a sample. Well, I got away from him and was able to signal my friend, and that squashed the situation. But if I hadn't had anybody, he wasn't coming out of that room. He knew that I was, half clothed or barely clothed, and that I couldn't go too far, and he wasn't going to come out of that room. But then once he saw my buddy coming up, so really I didn't have, like the night where I wasn't, like I was talking about, I just had to put up with it, basically.
Now, when it came to finding shelter on the street, what did you do?
Like I said, I went to the bar a lot. There was a hospital emergency room I would go sleep in at night.
Did you ever try the bus station?
No, because they shoot you out of there.
Okay. Did you ever sleep under a bridge or an abandoned building or anything like that?
Yep, I did do the bridge thing a few times. I know there was enormous rats under there because the other homeless people that had come through there before me had left trash. That's the other thing, is people don't really care. It's not their home, or it's not their bridge, really, so they don't, there's you just have to watch where you're stepping, because there could be human waste, there could be all kinds of nastiness.
So, would you say in even the homeless community, because obviously people that are in the homeless community are pretty much survivalists.
Yes.
Anyways, and they're more for scavenging, looting, and performing other acts that people would deem immoral, but to do what it takes to survive. Would you, or should I say, is it safe to say that, in a grid down scenario or other scenario where the general public will find themselves, either fending for themselves out on the streets or whatever. Would you say that people in the homeless community are pretty territorial?
Yes, they can be. That's why I never had too much of a problem with that, because I wasn't panhandling. That's when they start, this is my corner, get the fuck off my corner. They start throwing accents at you that you didn't like. Really, where are you from?
Right. Now, I know it's probably a bit of a culture shock for you. And of course, you're still trying to get back on your feet.
Yes.
In fact, she's in a shelter now, which I'm very glad that she was able to make it to a shelter, which we're pulling up to right now. So
Yes.
We're getting ready to cut the interview short, but we're gonna come back and hopefully do another interview with.
Hopefully have more progress.
With Sally here. So.
Street Smart Sally, signing off.
All right. Well, thank you, Sally, and enjoy the care package.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
And you have a good one. See you later.
Holler at me later.
All right. All right, and that concludes our interview with Sally. Like I said, we'll come back and interview her again, keep up on her progress, and explore more of her experiences. In fact, it's actually made me want to discuss or talk to some other people I know that have been in her situation as well, and see what their thoughts are on, or see what they did, what their experiences were, and how the average person will probably be if SHTF or shit fan or the apocalypse or whatever came, how people would react and what they would do. So like, comment, subscribe if you like the video, and if you want more videos, like I said, we got more coming out. They're just coming out real slow because I'm real busy, so just click the little bell. And I'd like to thank everybody for your support, and you guys have a great one. And remember, prepare yourself. It's never a question of if, it's a question of when.